show up for yourself and to work on yourself. So for all of my new babies, welcome, welcome, welcome. And for all of my returning babies, welcome back. Mama loves you. How are you, sweetness? How have you been? How has things been going? Okay, let's go ahead and get started. As you know, we start this session off with a prayer. It is not a religious prayer. It is a prayer to root us down in our individual healing experience and to bring us together as a community, as a collective. And because consent matters, do I have your permission to say a prayer? May I touch you? Okay. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe on your own. Dear universe and all for the highest vibrational good only, please connect us to our highest intentions and validate information from our highest self only. Please allow us to let go of what we need to let go and embrace what allows us to grow. Let our journey encompass the lineages, traditions, religions, and spiritual paths that bring light out through us to share with others. I say all of this in the name of I am. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Okay, it's going to be okay. And I think that you just needed to know that. So I'm just going to go through here and just work on your energy just to calm you down. And then we'll get into removing any of that stuff, but just, it's going to be okay. Understand that there's so many things that are happening at the same time. So many things that make us feel nervous or afraid, confused or exhausted, but it's going to be okay. And the reason why it's going to be okay is because it's always eventually been okay. You know, I spend a lot of time trying to redefine how we define reality, which is this idea that everything needs to be perfect or normal, normal, in order for it to be valuable. But understanding that whatever experience you're having now is normal. It's going to be okay. 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 It's going to be. It's going to be okay. 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 Well, family, you did a fantastic job. And I want you to know it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. So calm your energy, okay? You're new to the communities, baby. Welcome in it for all my returning babies. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Mama loves you. So let's go ahead and get started in the session. And we start the session off with a prayer. It's not a religious prayer. It's just a prayer to root us in our individual healing experience and bring us together as a community and as a collective. And because consent matters, to have your permission to say a prayer. May I touch you? Okay, you ready? Breathe in. Exhale. Ready? Dear universe, and all for the highest vibrational good only, please connect us to our highest self and validate information for our highest vibrational good only. Please allow us to release what we need to let go and embrace what allows us to grow. Let our journey encompass the lineages, traditions, religions, and spiritual paths that bring light out through us to share with others. I say all of this in the name of I Am. Ashe. 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 Okay. So, I'm gonna get some cinnamon and gonna do some cleansing. I kind of want to do like a little cinnamon bowl and just because you want to get into a state where you're very rested, very at peace, where you feel safe, where you trust yourself. You get where this is going, where you feel safe and you trust yourself. You're well rested and all of that, because in order for you to manifest into your life, in order for you to heal, because healing is manifestation too, it's an attracting in an abundance feeling, and it's a bit of that shadow work you're cleansing out too, in order to attract this new life, new state of being. Sometimes I call it the next iteration of you. It takes being in the right energy. You cannot attract the life that you want remaining in the same energetic system you're in now. If you want to get over here, you can't stay over here. If you don't want to get over here, you can't stay over here. And that makes sense. You ever meet somebody who's really dedicated to something they're doing, and you realize, like, yes, this person is talented, but they're dedicated, and that's probably what's leading to their success. But have you been around people who wanted to do stuff, but they were not dedicated to what they said they wanted to do? What happens? Even if they have a natural talent, they probably don't get that far. So if you want to get over here, it requires changing from that energy to this energy. And so cinnamon does that. Oh, my favorite herb, cinnamon, echinacea. I'm getting down with ginger. Oh, ginger is really bad right now because I'm going through all of these journal articles on the medicinal properties of ginger. A1 Day 1, hello. Look it up. I be tearing up Google Scholar. And as a healer, it's just important to get information from, reputable sources. And it's so funny being in this esoteric space. I find that I get a lot of my information from scholarly articles. I'm just like, okay, this makes sense. This makes sense, okay? Because I'm a numbers person. I'm like, okay, run the numbers back. So inhale and exhale. Okay. So lifting and releasing any type of just heaviness. So I'm just going to, and that heaviness can be a sense of responsibility, whether that is conscious or unconscious, that you are ready to release and ready to let go. Baggage, karma. And what I notice is that a lot of people come to these sessions because they're looking for permission to let go. You may think that it is me just lifting this weight up and releasing it, and then you come back and you want it done again. But really what it is people are looking for permission to let go. They are the ones who are carrying the backpack. Do that thing. You remember when your backpack was heavy and you just got in the house and you just let it fall? You'd be like, just do one of that. With all those things in your life you're ready to let go of. Just let that thing hit the ground, and then you hit that pavement and run off. Like, no more stress, no more taking on other people's baggage and burdens and things like that. Because, they say it all the time. There is a thin line between love and hate. So a lot of times we get into these different dynamics with people, and because we love them, we will entertain environments and habits and mindsets that aren't for our best. And we think because we love somebody, we should stay there. Friends, family, people around you, being a part of communities and groups. Remember, I used to talk to y'all all the time about like culty feelings and guru type things. That's why I tell y'all all the time, y'all gotta figure out what y'all want, okay? Because I'm trying to figure out me each and every day. But with all of that, looking for power outside of ourselves, we forget that there's all this power inside of us. a source of pain and hurt and eventually dis-ease. Also, mindset. You take care of your body by having the right mindset, a growth mindset. You take care of the body on the spiritual level from your belief system. What do you believe? What do you trust in? Don't worry about what everybody else is telling you need to believe in. What do you choose to believe in? What do you choose to connect with? What opens up your heart and brings light all into your life? All of that. I'm going to guarantee that there probably has not been a roadmap or a life path that has ever done it the way you're supposed to do it. So do not wait to find some person who can already demonstrate to you everything that you want. No, you gotta be your unique self. You gotta step out there and be out there in front of other people and be yourself. There might be a lot of different communities, and maybe it doesn't feel like they all go together. It doesn't matter. As long as you're feeding your soul and your energy, that is what the happiness is. Giving yourself permission to be yourself. A lot of times people just want to be accepted. That is completely understandable. We're not in this vacuum. But it matters who you want to be accepted by. You should not and no longer have to tolerate being accepted by those that are no longer vibrating at your energetic path. Because if you let those people go, I guarantee you more people will flow into your life at a higher vibrational rate where you're going. But you have to have faith. You have to be able to leap onto that side and believe that you pursuing whatever you want to pursue, or you choosing to be happy, or you choosing to prioritize your health or your goals is the best for you, regardless of anybody else. You got to take that guilt away. I will tell you one of the hardest things for me to get over when going towards my happiness was I had an immense amount of survivor's guilt, survivor's remorse. When you're a first generation college student, when you have a parent who immigrated to the US, when you have all of these things that other you, and you get surrounded by people who have just had a tough time trying to make their way, whether it is systemic, whether it is addiction, whether it's all these things, and a lot of times they're very much intersectional within themselves. When you figure out how to get beyond, it can feel bad. It can feel like I'm these people, I want them to come with me. But what I realized was, you cannot make anyone come with you. It's going to create resentment. All you can do is be an example. If you want to be happy and you know what your happiness is, you know what brings a smile to your face, you know what puts energy into your soul and your system, do it. Some people will hate because they have blocked their own happiness. Some people will be happy for you and they'll make changes in their own life. And some people will be happy for you, but they themselves cannot move right now. And you have to be okay with making peace with the fact that your happiness does not have to be codependent on other people's happiness or other people's sorrow. lets me know you get to find out afterwards. Because I cannot be distracted. Your energy has to be free flowing and going. You cannot be distracted, and people, situations, and circumstances can be distractions. Working environments, loves, families, friendships, community, and things like that. Obligations that you have no business feeling like you should be obligated to. It's time for you to live, and it's time for you to move forward. And this happiness doesn't mean that there aren't challenges. Challenges are typically good. They actually give us an opportunity to like reevaluate. Okay, you know what? I could do a little bit better here. So that's fine. But the happier you are, the more you see the challenge as something that is fortifying rather than something that is toxic or traumatic. It is the mindset. So pushing the energy forward, pushing it, or pulling it forward. Let's get you to where you need to be. Okay, so take a deep breath in, exhale, release, let it go. Just let it go. How do you feel? How was it? How was your energy level? Okay. Chef's kiss. That's fantastic. You got this. No matter where you're at right now in your life, no matter if you're just starting from day one or the mini day ones, we all start over again, baby. I can start over like 15 times in the same month. Who gonna tell me I can't? No way. Whether it is your 5th, 6th, or 15th attempt at day one, welcome. Then you get to day 2, and then you get to day 3. But it's gonna be okay. The happiness you want, you deserve. It is right in your hands, and you can control it. But you gotta strengthen those boundaries. And you have to heal yourself. You trust yourself. You have this unconditional love and partnership with the universe, or whatever it is that you connect to. That's your business. I don't really care. And you go forward and you do what you have come into this life to do. Dear universe, and all for the highest vibrational good only, please connect us to our highest self and validate information for our highest good only. Please allow us to release what we need to let go and embrace what allows us to grow. Let our journey encompass the lineages, traditions, religions, and spiritual paths that bring light out through us to share with others. I say all of this in the name of I am. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Okay. Okay. So breathe through this. Breathe through this. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Let it go. Feeling safe and being safe, it's 2 different things. And I think the most important thing is to feel safe. Because sometimes we can go through a lifetime of trauma, be in a better place, but cannot appreciate it because we're so used to feeling unsafe or anxious or in a constant state of fight or flight. So it's okay. It's okay to feel safe. All that you've grown in your life, all the work you've done to cleanse and to work and to get yourself to be the person purpose of this cycle was to get you ready for whatever was to come that you weren't ready for back then. So sometimes the challenges that show up in life are here to prepare us for the greatness that we have in the future. But a part of being able to pursue the things that we love, the things that we want, is having to be able to internally, emotionally feel a sense of peace and calm. Just if you can, put your hands to your heart, take a deep breath in, exhale, and use your own energy to calm yourself. Allow the energy to flow through your crown all the way down. Centering, continue to breathe, and ground yourself. All the energy that is around you that connects us all, but most importantly lights your path, is here for your safety, is here to protect you. You are now in a space and an awareness to know how to use these resources. Because when we're younger, we don't quite understand what's going on. We're relying on people around us to interpret the messages. And if they're not good at interpreting messages, but now you can interpret your own messages. Now you have the power to change whatever is coming up in your life. And so you have greatness that you're working on, that you're building, that you're growing. But at the same time, in order to be able to have that greatness, to work through that, because when you're building something important, that can be challenging too. Okay, that can be challenging too. Things can be boring, things can be frustrating, there can be setbacks. Sometimes you get a lot of kind of a work, so you have to do a lot of things at one time. So all of those things, they're coming up. But you had to be ready, and you had to be prepared. You have to have a different mindset. And so the person that you used to be is in conversation with the person that you are now. And you have to make peace with that version of yourself and let them be in the past. And grow into this next version of yourself. You need peace. You can't do this greatness stuff if you are in a constant state of anxiety, if you're constantly worrying about the past and in these states of depression, if you're constantly worrying about the future in these states of anxiety. Now, I get it, it's not that simple, it's not that black and white. If you could push off feeling uncomfortable, turn it off, that would be easy. But that's a part of your path to figure out what you need to do to heal. But the clues are everywhere. That is how I healed myself. The clues were everywhere. From every healer I went to every doctor I went to every moment in my own solitude, to the connections to the people around me, to pursuing things that had nothing to do with my health but made me happy. The clues were everywhere. So that's where it is. If you want to relieve the anxiety, if you want to relieve the depression, if you want to heal the trauma, you have to be willing to work at getting yourself to where you need to be. You gotta be willing to play the game. inside of you that can make the decision that you are going to live out to your greatness, your potential, and all of that. And as long as that fire is still burning within you, you will get to your path. It's inevitable. I'm just telling you the way that I see it and the way that it happened to me. But feeling safe is important, so take some breaths. Expand, take up space. Because sometimes not taking up space can be a part of the issue, wanting to shrink down, wanting to not be seen, feeling like others know more than you do, or for some reason feeling like everyone else is normal and you for some reason just have this string of bad luck or something like that. Now let me tell you something, everybody feels that way, so that's probably more of the norm right there. So all you have to do is expand, take up space, ask the universe or whatever you connect with. That's your business. I tell you that all the time. That's your business. You gotta figure that out. Ask the universe or whatever. Ask what you need in order to get what you want. And understand how sight works. Sometimes in the esoteric, we look at sight from the perspective of being a clairvoyant, psychic, medium, being able to communicate with those who have passed on. But sight works both ways. Underneath the veil, sight is mediumship and clairvoyant. In front of the veil, where we live in our everyday life, sight is your visualization or your co-creation of life. It doesn't matter which one you have or which one you want to use. It is up to you to decide, and it's really cool because we all have the ability to have the visualization and the co-creation, and it's so powerful because with sight, with mediumship and clairvoyance, we're receiving messages and we're taking things as they are. But when we have the visualization, or we have the ability to see what is right in front and co-create, we have the power. It doesn't matter what we think the future will be, or what we're trying to receive a message of like, oh, what will the future be? Please tell me. It's not that. It's what do I want it to be? And ask the universe. We are all in a partnership with the universe or whatever you connect to. We're all in a partnership. We're all in the best partnership. So if you ever been in toxic relationships, this might be a little bit hard concept to work through. But we're all in the best partnership. The universe says you can have anything, but you can't have everything. So you have to decide what is important to you. Tell me what you want. And many people don't know what they want. That's what gets people tripped up. They're trying to do everything because they don't know what they want. But you do know what you want. But sometimes there's a fear that going after what you want, you might lose out on something. Maybe the opportunity cost of something. Don't worry about that. Just know that if you are going to do whatever this thing is, rain or shine, when it's boring, when it's fun, then it's a part of your purpose. And it doesn't matter if anybody else agrees with you. Who cares? It's a part of your purpose. And that is why you are in this experience. To share with others, to bring light to us, so we can see that gift that you brought with you within this experience. So understand that you're on the right path. That everything you've experienced is normal. A lot of people experience difficult times and have to learn how to get to the other side. And even getting to the other side takes time. So you don't have to pressure yourself to be perfect. Just know you don't have to do it on your own. Always reach out for help. Always appreciate the support that's around you, and always change the support if it is not what you need. All of this is helping you, even on an esoteric level, connecting to your guides, your archangels, your ancestors, your Orisha, whatever it is that you connect to, all here to help and guide you. But you have to be open and connect, and that's trusting yourself, which we did. Having unconditional love for yourself. And you have to feel safe, because only when you feel safe will you actually be able to build a house? You know, if you didn't feel safe somewhere, you're like, I'm not going to build a house here, I'm going to keep moving. And if you've been in a constant state of movement your whole life, it feels like that, never feeling like any place is certain. But it's time to take roots. It's time to anchor down. It's time to feel safe. And this time, nothing outside of you creates safety. It is what's inside of you that creates safety. You're the commonality. You have to look no further around. Just look within yourself. You have the ability to root yourself whenever you need to, okay? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And work through it. Allow this to open up any messages that you need to receive to guide you on your path. Don't fall prey to the get there quick stance, or that one person can solve all your problems, or one part of the journey is the end all be all. It's a long journey, but the journey, it gets better and better. You get to enjoy it more and more. And sometimes the situations don't even change that much. It's our perspective and our outlook. We stop suffering as much. We start just going through the challenges, leaving them as they are and working through them, but enjoying life instead of ruminating on these things all the time. Breathing in and out. Did I bring you a feeling of safety? Or, I think more importantly, not I, do you feel safe? Do you see the power that is within you? Continue to breathe in and out. Continue to breathe in and out. Take your time. Take your time. And no judgment. No judgment. No judgment of anything. I don't know why I did that. Have fun. Have fun. I know you all have seen me for almost 700 videos. Or over 700 videos. Because the girl be working. But my personality is very serious. I have a very serious personality. And it took a lot of work to get this cheesy and this corny. It took a lot of work. And I work hard each and every day to get a little bit more cheesier, because life is not about worrying about things all the time. You got the obstacles, work through the obstacles, but enjoy. Be nice to your nervous system. Be nice to your body. And sometimes, I can say from my personal experience, I had to remove myself from the environment that reinforced the old behaviors. Family, friends, love, career. That's why I'm always talking about these things. There's been many a times where I had to be with myself in my own space, because I needed to feel a way that I hadn't been taught, I hadn't been exposed to, but I believed I could have. We all have that ability. So to the best of your ability, find that space in your life for yourself. Find that space, you can do it. So take a couple more breaths here. Relax into this. Smoothing over. So I'm going to smooth you over, okay? And I'm going to seal you with the sign of the infinity and say, if no one has said it, babies, love you. But who cares that I love you? The only thing that matters is that you love you, you know? It's not about the outside, it's about the inside. So love yourself each and every day a little bit more. I love myself, you know? I love myself a lot. I try to be very consistent in showing up with these healing sessions because of the amount of self-love I have. Because I felt like, wow, I had to do all this work. And I do know that a lot of people are doing this work. So let me show up and try to help in the way I can, because that's a part of all of this in the name of I am. Ashe. Okay. Inhaling and exhaling. Release. Okay. Now it's time to get in an energetic state where you feel comfortable being yourself. You feel comfortable just showing up in the world, in the space as yourself. It is important. Do not try to show up as a carbon copy of something else. Be yourself. And that's going to look different. You're going to have different interests. You're going to have different hobbies, goals, desires, teachers, students, all of these things. And that's what makes you special, unique, and your message needs to be heard, okay? So in this space of energy, start to just feel in your body, in your physical body, and start to see how everything that you've experienced in life helped you get to this moment. That richness of your experience is what allows you the ability to share the perspective that you have in the way that you have it. Release any desire to want to fit in. Release any desire to want to just be kind of a carbon copy of somebody else or something else. Release all of that. Inhaling and exhaling. You know, as you know, I'm a Reiki master teacher. I'm a teacher, so I teach others who are Reiki practitioners. And I guess that's a shout out because it's actually about to open up very soon, the Reiki master teacher cohort for 2022. But I'm actually not really talking about that. I'm talking about this. What I notice is that sometimes I'll have people, when they first meet me and we're working in this space, they think that I want to hear them say things the way that I say them, or to share the same type of outlook on life that I do. And I think that there are some commonalities we should all have. We're here to learn, we're here to grow, But the richness, okay, of the experience that someone has as they come into the practice, there are other, modalities that really illuminate their path. That is what we need in the space. That is what brings a richness to teaching. And even though I'm a Reiki master teacher and I teach Reiki masters, I tune people who want to go in the path of Reiki, honestly, I'm teaching people how to be energy healing practitioners. body types ain't look like mine. So when people don't understand the accessibility of body types and how to actually correctly put somebody in a certain asana, a certain pose, you can put people in danger, or you can actually shame people into thinking that, for this example, yoga is not available to them. They have to look a certain way. They have to have this, and that. And then also, like, all of the other weird kind of culty things that I feel like really pop up in the United States surrounding appropriating culture and then making it new here. And so, with that being said, when I started on my Reiki journey, and this is really important for liking and wanting what you want, I was like, fuck all that shit. I'm about to make a space where everyone can be. If you believe in this, or if you are, curious of that, have a safe space, because people want to be in community, but you will have a hard time finding somebody who believes in everything the way that you believe in it. And if you do, y'all will eventually hit a path where you rightfully so disagree on something, and then y'all start to, it's so bad. No, communities can be created in spaces where everyone can coexist and work and be supportive and be centered around equity and social justice. There is so many, not to go on a tangent of a tangent, but there were so many times that I would be in spiritual spaces, and being a woman of color, being a gay woman, being a woman of a different marginal backgrounds, as well as to encompass and have privileged backgrounds as well, have people who weren't of those marginalized backgrounds sit and tell me, that I was creating my own problems, or kind of hinting like, oh, that problem doesn't exist. And now we know that that would be, especially, we can like name it now. We now know that, oh, that's somebody being misogynistic, or that's somebody being homophobic, or that's someone not understanding their white privilege and being in the U.S. society, or that's someone being classist, or that's someone, like having these different narratives that go on. When I started, there was no space to call people. I mean, people could call people out, but it was not as accepted now. But now I'm saying that there is such an open space to be able to be like, hell no, I'm not doing that weird shit. I'm not just following somebody's rules. That when you have that, you understand, whoa, I can do whatever I want. Like, whatever's in your heart, the universe has now set up a time where you can actually go out there and get what you want. You can go out there and connect with people and heal with people and be in collective spaces with people without everybody having to mindlessly follow everybody else. It really is a beautiful time. I think so, in that space, in that perspective. And I've been talking about this for the past 2 years. When Saturn goes into Pisces, and we have this for those who have their Saturn return in Pisces, and for everybody else who's going to be experiencing this Saturn in Pisces, this will be a huge crisis of faith, because faith is the belief in something even when you can't see it. So if you ever heard somebody, I'll see it when, I'll believe it when I see it. But then we know in manifesting and light work, it's, you have to, believe it before you can see it. So it's going to be a lot of Saturn. Saturn are the tough lessons in that kind of stuff. And what's going to happen is those communities that are the most inclusive, those communities that are the most open, those communities that are the most welcome, and say, come on, we're going to figure this out together. Or we're going to hold a space where we're We hope that spirituality lives in religion, but the only requirement of religion is rules. Spirituality has nothing to do with rules and everything to do with our accountability to our understanding, if we have that, of the divine. And no one can hold us accountable except for ourselves. And that is why people will try to undervalue somebody who is going on their individual spiritual path by themselves, and they try to inflate people who are in these groups, or sometimes when it goes left, like these cults that all believe the same thing, and then they start believing real bonkers stuff, but they're in a group. The group is coming together. You ever been in a situation of where it happened to you, you've been a part of it, or you've seen it, where if enough people come together and lie on somebody else, like tell a lie about somebody else, for some reason that becomes reality, even though those people know what they're doing is wrong, they feel like, oh, this is the right thing because the group is doing it. Because we so desperately want to be a part of a group and a collective. We can be a part of collective energy without all having to be one weapon to be used against those who are not in the group. So if you are one for the freedom of your internal, progress and pursuits of life, then you have to. It is very imperative of you to go out here and connect yourself with what your soul is telling you to do, and know that anything that shows up, any obstacle, can be overcome. Anything that is like, oh, I don't think it's gonna work out, you can figure it out. And the more that we have that understanding, that awareness, that access, the more that we can make anything happen. And again, I'm telling you, this is a beautiful time in the fact that people are no longer as susceptible to being brainwashed. Now, you can still get brainwashed, but they're less susceptible because they are seeing different messages showing up as well. So if somebody tries to tell you, oh, here it is, everything's perfect, the grass is always green, you'll find somebody else who was in that same situation like this. What I thought it ain't work out. So if you choose to go in there, you kind of understand what to expect. Versus you can also say, I don't want to be in it, or I'm going to do this for a little bit. Saying all that to say that as you go on your soul's journey, on your soul's mission, and you want to be in collective and people, and you are doing things that will ultimately help others, trust and have faith in your path. Trust and have faith in the energy. There is nothing to be afraid about. There's nothing to be scared about. There's nothing to be sad about. Setbacks happen. That's life. That's regular. But you don't have to be afraid about it. You don't have to be sad about it, fearful about it. You just have to get through it. You just have to get to the other side. And you will. The only way you won't get to the other side is if you stop. Literally, if you stop. But if you keep going, even if you go slow, you will get to the other side. And do not believe anyone who tells you you're not going to be able to make it to the other side unless you're with them or with their group or something like that. Baby, you can get to the other side. A little bit more of a tangent on a tangent is, in the esoteric world, there's certain practices, certain traditions, whether it is modern modalities or And some will make it with you, some will not make it with you. They're gonna have to stay where they're at. You may not talk to the same friends. Some will make it with you, or come in the same path as you. Some will not. You may not have to have the same job. It doesn't mean you're gonna be out here without a job, but you may not have the same job. Oftentimes, you'll have to let that go in order to get something better. You may not live in the same place. You may not have the same mentality. The things that make you feel familiar. Because sometimes things that are nostalgic, if you are in a particularly toxic environment, the things that are nostalgic are things that will still hurt you. So we're thinking, oh, that's comfortable, that's something we know. No, sometimes you gotta break that. Sometimes you gotta be in an uncomfortable newness that you've never experienced before in order to break that. That's how you do it on your own. Well, if you happen to have access to a practitioner, or you are, someone who has the means, you can go to someone else and they, on your behalf, will, depending on their tradition, start to sever those cords. So instead of you having to pull yourself out, they sever those cords, and guess what? You're not going to talk to your family in the same way. Some will come with you, some will not. You won't be around the same friends in the same way, the same love as well, the same work environment, stuff like that. So I just gave you an example of how you can do it on your own, or you can go to a practitioner. But at the end of the day, it's going to change. The end goal will always be over here. So I'm saying all of that to say that you have the power to overcome anything. I really mean anything. And find your community as well. Sometimes we're having a different experience. For all of those out there who have different gifts or different experiences and different walks in life, you can find a community who can support you rather than trying to force yourself to fit in a community that vilifies you and makes you feel like you are very othered. There are all these different community and spaces that pop up that already exist, and that you also can create yourself. There is no reason why you cannot want what you want. Okay, I'm done. So I'm ready to see some shifts and some changes going on. Next month is going to be all about stepping into this energy, baby, and we gonna do it. Okay, well, sweetness, just needed you to know that was the message that came. I want you to know that you are loved. You are loved by the community. You are loved by the collective. But love yourself. Love yourself a little bit more and more each and every day. Not love yourself a little bit, like love yourself a little bit more. It's like pause. Each and every day. And when you do that, you will release any fears that have been built up over time and take yourself to where you need to go. Well, I'll see you next time, because I'm gonna be here, doing what I need to do, having a good time, enjoying life. Side note to a side note to a side note. One thing that I think is super cool is I think the aging process on me, besides me looking great, no, I'm just kidding. The aging process on me has been doing such a wonderful thing. I've been talking about this, like, I recently had a birthday. I'm in the 30s and up club, but I remember when I turned 30 and I felt like things are shifting, and to have like this next level of energy that's like, I don't give a fuck, I can do whatever I want to do. And also know that things don't have to be done for show. That happiness is actually closer in reach than some of the goals that I could have set when I was, in my 20s. And it's interesting how the perspective, at least for me, is I'm not making nothing hard on myself no more. I'm not putting huge barriers on myself anymore to happiness. I have my big goals, and I'm going to give myself time to have those goals. But happiness can be closer, and I'm going to take that happiness, whatever's in front of me, boop. And I wish somebody would say something, but I'm also at the point where, like, I'm not in situations where people have a say. Welcome, babies. And if you're returning, welcome back. Mama loves you. Let's go ahead and get started. So we start our session Ashe, ashe. Ooh, inhale, exhale. Let's get into it. So, I'm just going to pull away any anxiety, any doubt, anything within you that makes you feel like you are not deserving of living the life you want, of having what you want, or honestly, I think this is where most of us are at, just being able to be in a space of peace. So just pulling that out and removing that. Pulling that, pulling that, pulling that, pulling that, pulling that, pulling that. So babies, how are you? How you been? What you been up to? Okay. Let's pull this. And let's just remove this. You know, every day is a new reason to discover why it is so important for you to share your gifts and to just live, to be awake in yourself, in your own experience. We're all living a different experience, and all of these experiences matter. So it's time to embrace your experience as you would like to see it and enjoy the fruits of that awareness. So removing anything that makes you feel like you gotta conform to some invisible standard. Baby, we don't even know what the standard is. The rules keep on changing. They change from minute to minute, year to year. Don't worry about that. Now also, you need to understand what kind of healer I am. I am cheesy at times. I'ma have a good time. We gon' get to the heart of the matter. But most importantly, I want you to feel good when you leave. So sometimes the problem that we come in with, we get some awareness that day, and sometimes it takes a couple more sessions. Baby, take your time. If anything, just relax. Have a good time. Kick your shoes off, you know. Leave when you need to leave. Come back when you want to come back. It's like that. So just pulling this through. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. So it is going to be okay, love. Sometimes life can make us think it is not going to be okay. I guarantee you, it's going to be fine. Will there be challenges? Yes, I can guarantee there will be challenges as well. But you got this. Even if you're facing challenges, you got this. It's gonna work out. But we gotta remove any energy there. Now, I'm gonna be very honest. I'm gonna keep it real. And that can be difficult sometimes because we want a bandage that is a one-size-fits-all to fix everything. Okay, during this session, we're working on your energetic connections. But there's going to be other areas in your life where you have to do work too, where you have to get that community, that guidance, and that self-motivation. And it is your responsibility to go after those things. So when your energy gets reconnected to something like, let's say, health, okay, you're suffering from some type of chronic health condition. When we reset your energy and everything is where it needs to be, during the session, you typically will feel better or feel lighter. But you have to have your own self-care journey as well to keep up with the progress. And on top of that, there is an open connection here. The universe opens up a connection here. And then you're connected with a healthcare provider who finally understands what you're dealing with in ways that previous providers perhaps couldn't. And that's a part of the journey too. So we have to look at all of these things as complementary, and you want to have a whole team of people here for your health, and you gotta be the captain of it. You're the captain of the team. So this helps you see what is right in front of your face. And this is just a health example because baby, y'all be wanting me to give y'all these love examples too, and I could, do that too. Foundation is the same, but that is associated with love and partnership, because when we work on love, all it really is us working on our own self-love. Because the way we let others that we have romantic partnerships with, the way that we let them treat us, and also your close friends and family too, the people you're very close with, the way you let them treat you is a reflection of what you believe you deserve. Now, when it's earlier on in life, you can't help that. But when you start to get older, you start to be able, when you become an adult, even if you're conditioned in a certain way, now you think this is what you deserve. And so what we do here is we work through all of that incorrect way of energy flowing, so that you can be on the right way of energy, so you can dance your way to love or peace and things. And also know that it always starts from the self. Self-love is the most important. Now, if it has to do with your money, your mindset, your business, career or purpose, things like that, that has everything to do with healing your mind, okay? And healing your belief systems, having you understand and opening up your perspective to know, hey, there is this unlimited path in front of you, and you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And so don't get caught up with having to be all here and there, making other people happy, trying to make yourself happy, feel like you don't know who you are. We just narrow it in here. Narrow it all the way into here, okay? Just narrow it in. You recognize or you identify what is important to you, and you make peace with the fact that that's what you like, because that's most of the problem. Most people know what they like. They just struggle with making peace because they want people outside of them to accept them. They want this sense of certainty, but everyone just wants to belong. They want to feel a part of community. But you can find community in all kinds of places. Just know that, babies. Just know that. And last but certainly not least, on your spiritual, your energetic, your existential path, what are we doing here? Well, it aligns your soul. You work through different things. You work through all of this stuff, whether it is this lifetime or lifetimes before, or honestly, it doesn't really matter what I am saying in the way that I'm communicating my understanding of the universe. You get to decide what your understanding of the universe is. That's why in our opening prayer, I make it a point to say religions, traditions, spiritual paths, because you don't have to look at everything, the universe, the unknown, the divine, and the way that I do for us to be able to be in a collective, in a community, and support each other. So I just want to empower you to connect into your understanding, to make that decision, make changes, make advancements. And the more you get strength there, the more things just become simpler and easier, and you have more trust. And that goes ultimately to self-trust, trusting yourself. So that is how this can help. So as we have been speaking, I've been working on your energy, and you have been working on your energy, and all that is in this moment and that will ever be in this moment with you and I and all this lovely energy around us is here for your highest vibrational good. It's here for you. It's here for you. It's here for me. It's here for we. It's here for us. It's here for you. So you're never alone. You don't have to have all the answers to be on the right path. Mistakes are allowed and encouraged. You learn more from mistakes than getting it right. And you have to take responsibility for healing yourself on multiple levels. The mind, the emotions, the physical body, the mental, the belief, all of these things, the relationships you have with other people. It's a lot of work. It really is. But it is one of the best things you can do for yourself. I am a living testament most of that work I did on my own, learning a little bit from here and a little bit from there. That's why I try to consolidate and just kind of give you all the things I've learned over time. And with all of this and all of my journeying and continuing to journey, because sis loves the journey, I will say this: it's gonna be okay, and you can trust yourself. You don't have to know the answers. You don't have to be whole. You don't even have to be happy to make that next step to get you on the path to where you want to go, to where you feel more whole, okay? The prerequisite is not everything has to feel good to make a decision that you want to be where you need to go. If you're on that path, the solutions you need will appear. But most important is to trust yourself. You trust yourself more than anybody outside of you. Trust yourself. The answers are always there. And the cool thing about it is it's going to take you all over, as my mom would say, all over the mulberry bush. You're going to go over here, going to go over there. It don't seem like it makes sense until you get to a certain point and you look back like, oh, all of this was interconnected, perfectly designed for you. There is no linear roadmap. It looked like this. But that helps. Every little thing, every little interaction is healing as well. It's a part of it. It's a part of the purpose. It is a part of why we are here. So I believe, you don't have to believe this. That's your business. This is what I believe. I believe that we are this soul, this physical soul that incarnates into this body. I believe that this soul is infinite. And what's out there, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard enough to even feel like I can understand this part, right? I just feel like so small into the complexity of the universe. I don't think I'll ever be smart enough to know. But we are this soul that incarnates into this physical body, and perhaps we come back in different lifetimes and all of this. Now, everyone has their own interpretation of what this is and why we're here and what this experience is, and that is good, because you get to define why it is important for you to live and to enjoy and to learn and all of that kind of stuff. That's really important. You got to make that decision on your own. And the cool thing about it is, as a species, because y'all know I love to get into us as a species. I go down rabbit holes of nutrition and evolution all the time. As a species, we're so interesting because across all of these different cultures all around the world, we explain the divine in different ways, but there are these overlapping concepts that can be found in different places. And that makes sense, because when these different cultures interact with each other, there's also a merging of understanding too. And even when cultures are really remote, have no interaction, yourself time, because we overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in 10 years or a lifetime. You have so much time. You can't get it wrong. Think about it over time. Okay. So, I'm just gonna finish doing that and kind of just leave you with this energy, this message. You got this. You got this. Keep me filled in. I love to see when you're doing great things, because I always feel like I benefit, because I'm like, oh, that's cool. Now I get to learn more. So, babies, did you enjoy the session today? Okay, let's just kind of seal you to just relax. Find a way to balance yourself. Find a way to surrender to whatever is in front of you. And to find light, love, and peace in this moment, knowing that you are enough. You are more than enough. You know, this too shall pass, or every experience is temporary. We're in Cancer season, okay? And whenever we're in Cancer season, you can expect a lot of heavy feelings. And as a Cancer cusp, I mostly just get the qualities of being in my house, but minus that. Cancers are very passionate. Cancer energy is very passionate. It really is like, you know, the artist who experiences something and then just brings it to the canvas, or brings it into whatever, you know, artistic endeavor that they do, whether that is in a very artsy-fartsy way, or whether that's in like a practical, you know, analytical way. That's that energy that Cancer brings. So if the energy is heavy stuff that you need to work through, I actually encourage you in these moments to find creative outlets in order to kind of funnel that energy into it. If you feel like you're being fed the energy that you need to like do whatever you need to do, that's like superpowers right there. You better run with that. And if you're feeling a little down, you're feeling like another thing about Cancer energy is the food. So be mindful of your food, whether that is you need some comfort food, or you need to be eating things that maybe will regulate your internal mechanisms a little bit better, okay? So back into this space. And I just want to send some words of encouragement out there. We have a lot of interesting things happening from an astrological perspective, but just pretty much the interpretation of them is a lot of change. We have a lot of Uranus energy. And you know, Uranus, which is the modern ruler of Aquarius, shock and awe, revolution, quick change. Change that doesn't really consider the emotions, more of like, we gotta get this shit done type change. So if you are experiencing sudden change, sudden energy, some new shit, you know, some old shit you thought that was like gone, be sweet to yourself, be patient with yourself, be in this space and be in this moment with yourself, because it's gonna be okay. You're gonna figure it out. Everything is figure outable. And whenever these difficult moments come up, it's pretty much an opportunity to evaluate, you know, either past lessons learned or what actions you need to take in your life. And sometimes when you need to move past somewhere, or more importantly, have a relationship with yourself, which is that faith and trust within yourself. That, if you are being led in a direction, it doesn't analytically, mentally have to make sense. It doesn't emotionally have to make sense. Just if there's this sense of knowing in a direction in your life pulling you somewhere, and it's going to be a whisper. Usually it's like a tap on the shoulder. It's like right? And if you have life happening, you're like, you don't be paying attention to that shit. Listen to it, because it's going to take you to peace. It's going to take you to calm. It's going to take you to clarity. I talked about this in Go Where Love Loves You Back, because I was saying that, like, when I made the leap and I left where I was before, it almost can be like addictive to be in the ups and the downs of, like, kind of these environments that are like but I was positioned in a really good way in which I could leave where I was and explore, other things and not worry about it financially. And I realized that with that happening, it's like I had to have a whole entire change in mentality. A mentality that honestly, maybe 6 months or a year prior to that, I didn't even have, or I didn't have the ability to do that. So if you had told me 6, or even a year prior to that, I could make moves like that, I'd be like, no, that's too much. But y'all, this is Go Get It July, where we are bringing our goals together and we're going after them. In the Patreon community, there's going to be additional supplemental support, an energy healing circle as well, where we all come together and we channel for the collective good and all that stuff. But for that theme, it's basically saying that you can get to wherever it is you want to go. The first time we ever did something like this was last November, a non-stop November, and I just heard such positive energy from people. And even to this day, people are reaching out to me like, hey, non-stop November, I really went all in there. And it just created this environment where people were just saying yes to themselves and yes to what they want and yes to going after things and yes to, getting over challenges and obstacles and yes to, mental and emotional support and yes to taking breaks and yes to whatever it is that they needed in that moment. They just were saying yes to themselves and supporting themselves. And so Go Get It July is next level. Go Get It July is a transformation in a way of what is it that you want right now that you don't even fathom. How can I have that? What is that? Get those goals and those thoughts together and start to center yourself, because the way that you get something that is out of reach for you, where right now it might feel like, how do I figure this out? How do I plan this out? How do I do this? How do I go after this thing? I'm gonna need all this extra shit. How you do that is your ability to find your fertile soil. That's what I was talking about with Go to Where Love Loves You Back. Find your fertile soil and just fill yourself up. And sometimes that means like it's just you. It's lovely to have a community, and we are a community. You and I and all of us, we are a community, which is also helpful and cool. But sometimes in your everyday life, maybe people aren't on the same wavelength as you. Maybe you have to kind of do your own thing, or maybe you have to give yourself some space, give other people some space to be able to grow into whatever it is that they need in that moment. But you have to do it. But sometimes it's like life is happening. Things may be out of your control, which happens in life, but it's because you have to let things go. I talk showing up, but there is this kind of interesting theme of like shock and awe this year. So a lot of shifting, drastic shifting, and the best way to understand where it's hitting you is if what time you were born, and you could be able to look to see what houses it impacts. If not, that's okay too. Any who is in their Saturn return, I am definitely in my Saturn return. Baby, I turn around every day and some shit is new. I'm like, okay. So I'm going and floating. To date, the most interesting thing of my Saturn return is the impromptu vacation I had to take like around my birthday, because I just was like, I woke up and I was like, I don't want to do anything. Literally, I was like, I don't want to do anything. Turned on the TV. I started watching my shows, and baby, a couple days had already passed. I was like, damn, time flies. Well, let me get back to see what's on here. I didn't realize how much I had worked, that I wasn't taking the time to just chill, just Netflix and chill with myself, fill myself up and make some new decisions and explore, because I feel like life is one big adventure, and everything is an adventure to me. Like even going to get food, like walking places, seeing places, and I was so busy in my routine that I never gave myself, or I wasn't giving myself the opportunity to go out and just do some different shit sometimes. So the funny thing was, I was walking all the time. I was seeing things that I hadn't seen before. I was like, oh, okay. And that walking had me like keep walking and keep walking and keep walking, and now like I walk every day. And I feel like, oh, I gotta get that out, because I can really be a homebody sometimes. So I'm like, okay, get out there, and also to be around the people I love. So whenever, my friends or my family are asking me to do something, I'm like, yeah. Whereas before I would be like, oh, I should be thinking about this, I should be planning that, da 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 da. Now I'm just like, no. focusing on those things. Focus on how powerful it is that you have such a strong intention for your dream, your goal, and someone else does too. And as a collective, it amplifies your ability to get to where you want to go. And what that actually feels like is it just feels easier, you know? You might know here's the path, but you might feel confused. But the more clear the answer becomes, the more you just are like, okay, I'll just follow that. No need to push back, no need to get lost in confusion. I know exactly what I want and where I'm going, and surrendering to that. So I'm going to get some cinnamon to clear out the space. And just relax. In this moment, surrendering to yourself and going on a very deep, deep journey with yourself, taking your time with this mission. And this, of course, is cinnamon. We love our cinnamon here. Take your time with yourself. Go on that journey with yourself. Be at peace with yourself. Only you truly have the power to make your dreams come true or to stop you right in your track. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Breathing in the cinnamon, allowing it to ground you. Cinnamon has grounding properties to it. And bring you back into the reality that what you want, even if it takes time to get their delayed gratification, is worth it. It's worth it because it is the gift that you incarnated into this experience to share with others. And your soul smiles when you feed into your dreams and your goals, even if those goals are hard. Sometimes the biggest gifts that we have to share are things that we have no clue how to do, but just figure it out. And when you figure it out, you look back and you're like, actually, that wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. But in the moment, it can be very intimidating. But also think about it now. You have some big dreams, big goals that seem like you can't do it. But never forget that you've done it many, many times before. Some consciously, some unconsciously. And that this is just one of many other things that you're going to accomplish. So just a little bit more of this. Just a little bit more of it. Just a little bit more of it in your energy. Okay. Good job. Good job. Breathing in and out. In and out. In and out. In and out. You got it. If you might have a cinnamon drink, maybe a little cinnamon powder, feel free to add that cinnamon into it as well. Beautiful. As you know, I love this part of it. Usually I can get like a little bit to come out. Okay. It's time for you to stand up for yourself. It's time for you to understand that just because someone else says something or tells you this or tells you that way. Stand up for yourself. One thing that is really important is when a situation tries to intimidate you, just know that the quicker you stand up, the quicker it's resolved. The longer it takes, the longer it's resolved. So many people are looking to control outside of themselves rather than inside of themselves. So the quicker that you show someone you are in control on the inside, the less likely they are to try to hold on and grip you on the outside. Unfortunately, there are other people who are much more accessible for them, but it shouldn't be you. So when you want to say no, say no. Say no, I will not, I won't, I can't. And when you want to say yes with all your heart. Yes, I'll do it. It doesn't matter how big it looks. I will figure it out. And connect with this energy. Remember that your dreams and your goals are those gifts that you brought with you into this experience. In order to see those gifts come into the physical, you have to change. You have to evolve. You have to grow. You have to adapt to the life that you want, rather than trying to make what you want adapt to where you are now. This place is done. It's time for you to move forward in the next chapter of your life. You've been feeling it. You've been wanting it. But now you're ready for it. And it will take time. There's no instant gratification here. It's going to take time. But learn how to build something. Even though the results don't come instantly. Learn how to go after what you want. Even though it takes time. Learn how just the joy of your own heart is enough to see you through. For a long time, these principles that I'm talking about, that I'm always giving you the tea, sweetness, are things that as I move forward in my journey as an individual and as a healer, I start to understand on an energetic level. But before, even though I felt them, I just couldn't explain them. And one of those things would be when you surrender to the universe and you just go after your dreams with a smile and you enjoy everything you love about it, everything just always falls into place. But if you don't know what's happening energetically, that takes a lot of faith, which is always a good practice. But I like to make it easy on you, so I'll explain to you energetically what's going on. Energetically, you're focusing on the internal rather than the external. And the quickest way to get to a goal, to accomplish something, or to manifest something would be to focus on the internal rather than the external. It's important to know what you want and where you want to go. But if you want to be in love, you can say, okay, I want a person who's like this, and that, right? But also at the same time, if you want that exact person, it takes time for the universe to bring that exact person to you. But instead of you focus on the way the person makes you feel, okay? Because you're assuming that these characteristics or these traits will make you feel this way. Just focus on how you feel. That person will come to you quicker. Same thing with work. You know, want a job that's like X, Y, and Z because that's what you think. That will make you feel good or feel balanced or feel important. But instead, scratch that. Simply say, I want work that makes me feel this way, feel secure, feel important, feel valuable, and that will come to you. Now you might be tempted to want to micromanage. Oh, what if they send me something that's too little? The universe never sends you something little. The universe sends you what you want or better. So you're the only person who can make what you receive little by just putting it in a box. If you allow the universe to do what it needs to do, it will send you sometimes you have to separate yourself from some people's energy. I like to pour into you, baby, because I feel like so much happens in life that knocks us off balance. I like to pour into you, filling you up. But when you are on your own, going out into the world, I do understand that you may come into contact with people who maybe aren't so peaceful, and that may impact you. So sometimes when you need to be around your own energy, or energy you know for certain will feed this transformation and this change. Some people are so afraid of change that they just start acting crazy and self-sabotaging. But if you embrace change, you can then use this energy in order to form whatever you want. Just like sometimes we focus on structure, or we focus on patience, or we focus on comfort or enjoyment. Everything has its purpose at different times, and this is all about the change. So don't be afraid to be in your own energy, to say no, even if you love the people, even if you think they're great. Don't be afraid to say no, or to narrow those times with people in order to keep yourself up, or keep your energy wherever you need that energy to be. It's okay, you can be a great friend, but here's the thing: when you have conversations with people, you shouldn't have to bring your energy down to talk to them. Allow them to bring their energy up to talk to you. You're not being compassionate by bringing your energy down. You're being compassionate by requiring them to bring their energy up. And it's okay, they'll find other people to talk to and dish to on that energetic level, but they know to come to you when that energy is up. And they want that. They want to come to you when the energy's up. They're like, let me go deal with my stuff over here real quick, and I'll be right back. I'll be right back. So balance it here. Smoothing and working through that energy. Surrendering to the beauty that is you, the life that is you, the balance that is you, the peace that is you, the persistence that is you, the change that is you. All of that which is you. And you are allowed to say no whenever you want to. And you're allowed to say yes whenever you want to. All of the above. All of the above. But what you want in your heart, this dream, this goal, this gift, is a requirement for your soul to live out. Breathe into this. Don't be afraid. Accept the challenge. Accept the challenge with a smile, honestly. Because how lucky are you that you actually know what you want? Tons of people don't know what they want. But how lucky are you that you know what you want? And if it's a big one, a big goal, be even more grateful. I'm so happy that I am able to live out this life and watch myself transform to the highest potential. You feel me? No need to take baby steps here. Trust that if you follow the internal, making sure that it's balanced and right, you will always find your light. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, family, I hope you enjoyed this session. I definitely have. I'm so excited